1997, kids. Phone lines are open. Let me go there first. Cleveland number 521-3529. Akron number 677-0029. We got a lot to talk about. Everyone's doing it, so why not sports talk? Let's talk about the stories of 1997. The best of 1997, the worst of 1997. What are the biggest sports stories? Not just in the Cleveland area. How about all over the country, all over the world? Let's not just limit it to us. If you want to, that's fine too. Everyone's still talking about the running backs and quarterbacks. In the NFL yesterday, you've seen Dan Marino, what might have been his last game in Miami. We can talk about that. The playoffs are among us. They're here. Leading up to the Super Bowl, January 25th. Right now, we're looking at, I think in the AFC, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you right now, just Final Four. Pittsburgh, Kansas City. And the NFC, I got to go with the 49ers. They're my team. The Buckeyes and 49ers, that's me. I'm going to go with the 49ers and Green Bay in the NFC Championship game and let them duke it out, and we'll see what happens from there. Of course, the Cavs are in action, I believe, tomorrow night versus Miami. They're having a good season. I believe at this point last year they have almost the identical record. Sean Kemp, we can talk about that. The trade that brought him here from Seattle. There's all kinds of things to talk about. And of course, along the way, we also had in Cleveland both All-Star games, baseball and basketball, which produced the greatest 50 players of all time. Actually, 50 players weren't there. Pete Maravich is dead. Shaquille O'Neal couldn't make it because some foot injury, I believe it was, and his doctor said he shouldn't fly. And Jerry West was advised not to fly from the West Coast because of ear infection or something like that. So actually, I think he only had 47, 48 players actually in Cleveland. But that was one of the best things about 1997, in my opinion. The All-Star game in baseball. Sandy Alomar, MVP. His dream season. I don't think he'll ever have a season. He couldn't have dreamt of having a season like this, like he did in 1997. Another big story. Everywhere, the Indians making it back to the World Series again. Only to, I won't say choke. They didn't choke. They just didn't pull it out. Maybe next time, next year, we can pull it out. John Hart, the big maverick gambler, once again making deals, trades, bringing free agents. Dwight Gooden's here. We got another Cy Young Award winner. Of course, we had to let Oral go, but you know, like the saying goes, whenever a door opens, another one closes, and whatever, vice versa. You know what I'm talking about. So we got that to look forward to. We got 1999 coming up and a possible team coming here. Also, the Bulls. The Bulls are now in first place in the Central Division. And just a little while ago, you wouldn't have believed that because Michael Jordan was in a slump. Dennis Rodman wasn't playing well. Scottie Pippen didn't want to play for the Bulls anymore. All of a sudden, a couple weeks later, they've knocked off Atlanta. They beat the Lakers. Two of the top teams are expected to go far. And guess what? They're back on top. Michael had 47 2 nights ago. Dennis Rodman had 29 rebounds, his most since joining the Bulls. So they're playing really well without Scottie Pippen. And the rumor is he's due back in just a matter of weeks. He's now had a little change of heart. I think he's probably thought about it. He's talked to Michael, I'm sure. He's talked to Phil Jackson. And I'm sure if he's ready to play, no one wants to sit on the bench. And I don't think the Bulls are going to trade him. Not right now. So he'll just be sitting on the bench, wasting away. He needs to get into shape. He knows he needs to get into shape if he's going to sign a free agent contract with someone else next year. So he's going to come back, give it a shot, and that's only going to help the Bulls. The Knicks, they lost Patrick Ewing out for the year. We're not even through. I don't think we're through a quarter of the season yet. He's gone for the year. I think we've had some of the biggest injuries in 1997 that we've had in many of years. You had Olajuwon is still out with knee surgery in Houston. Barkley missed a ton of games with a pulled groin. He didn't pull it himself, but Hardaway, Penny Hardaway, he's out, knee surgery, tendonitis surgery, whatever, in Orlando. Alonzo Mourning missed tons of games for Miami, but he's back now. So we can talk about that. Terrell Brandon, I think he's still on the DL in Milwaukee. Of course, he was traded right around the time Sean Kemp came to Cleveland. He was sent to Milwaukee, and now we have Brevin Knight. The new kid on the block. So, I say what you will, and I'm one of the biggest bashers of Wayne Embry as far as what he hasn't done for the Cavs, but somehow he always manages to bring some guard out of nowhere. Kevin Johnson, Mark Price, you name it, on down the line. Brandon. Now we've got Brevin Knight. So there you go. Also, we can talk about Florida. The fire sale continues. They just won the World Series. They can't afford the players they have. So what do? Who needs a player? They're like shuffling cards. Who needs a player? They're giving away players. Did the Indians get any? John Hart. Come on, get on the phone. Who's the guy, the fastest, quickest bat? He's still there. Let's bring him here. Dwight Gooden's nephew. Let's bring him here. Also, Roger Clemens. In case there was any doubt of his credentials to be a Hall of Famer, he just went out and said, you know what? I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to win my 4th Cy Young. I got 4 kids. I got 4 Cy Youngs now. He's back on top. He's in Toronto, but he's back on top. Toronto made some acquisitions in the offseason. They let Joe Carter go, but they're looking to get back on top. They fired Cito Gaston, so we'll see what happens with them. Pedro Martinez, a Cy Young Award winner in the National League. He came to the American League. He's now in Boston, replacing, in a sense, he's replacing Roger Clemens. So we'll see what I don't think Boston's going to do anything. I don't care if they sign Mo Vaughn to a $100 million contract for 10 years. Boston is not going anywhere. They didn't go anywhere with the team they had when they played us in the playoffs in '95, and we kicked their butts. So they're not going to go anywhere this time. Albert. We seen 1997. We seen Albert go down the tubes. Now he had for Albert, it was a bad year. Anyone else would have probably killed for the numbers he had in Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, the same team that is owned by the Bulls owner, their same person, Jerry Reinsdorf. I can't quite figure this man out. Now, he has the best team in basketball. They've won 5 championships, I believe, in 7 years. Probably would have won 7 in 7 years had Michael not retired. He doesn't want to give Scotty the money. He doesn't want to bring Phil Jackson back for another year. They gave him a 1-year contract, and they said this is his last contract as a Chicago Bull. He's gone. Well, Michael's already said, if Phil's not back, I'm not playing for this team that's going to start rebuilding, breaking in another coach. I'm gone. If you had Michael Jordan on your team and you're paying him $30-some-odd million for 1 year, would you not do what you had to do to keep him here? They sell out the United Center every night. He brings in tons of revenue. Why would you not sign him to a couple-year contract? Bring Phil Jackson back. Put your differences aside. Look at the Cowboys. You say, well, yeah, Barry Switzer did deliver one Super Bowl with the Cowboys. Yeah, but look at him now. If you would have kept Jimmy Johnson, if Jerry Jones would have put his personal differences aside, maybe the Cowboys would still be on top. But as it is now, they're dead. They couldn't even make the playoffs in the NFC. And that is sad. When you've got the likes of Tampa Bay, who's playing very well, not taken away from them, Green Bay, San Francisco in their division, the only team that made it, and no one from that NFC, whatever the division is. That's sad. Washington, out. Philadelphia, out. It's a sad affair in that division. So we can talk about that. Cal's moved to third base. Matt Williams goes back to the West Coast. That guy, what a season he had. Divorce, slumps, comes back in the playoffs, has a good playoffs. His ex-wife moves out to Arizona. He wants to be near his kids. Hey, John Hart, I need to get out of here. I want to be near my kids. They accommodate him. Some owners or general managers wouldn't even do that. So they trade him out, and we get Travis Fryman. And hopefully Travis Fryman is going to work out for the Tribe. I'm not sure. I think he'll be a good role player, but we're going to miss the home runs, I think, from Matt Williams. Whether he was in the slump or not, he still hit home runs. So we'll see how that goes. But we also got tons of things to talk about tonight. As I said, Steve French is away doing his Akron U thing. I am Galen Floyd. I am here tonight, and I will see you next week also. We got to take a break. We'll come back and take your calls when we come back to Sports Talk, only on the Cat, channels 35 and 29.
to get you in the door. Some stores only lower their prices on a few items. Acme lowers hundreds of prices every week. You'll find items on sale from every department. You get more for your money at Acme. You can count on it.
For dependable low prices, shop at your locally owned Acme. Save this week on 22 to 24 ounce Red Baron pizzas. 6 varieties to choose from. Regularly $4.49, now only $2.99 with the Ultimate Card at Acme. If you are 50 plus, the Cat channels 35 and 29 have just the show for you. Senior Talk with Dick Gardner, a show for and about active seniors. Senior Talk is a great place to find out about investing, home improvements, legal matters, health issues, starting your own business, buying, selling, and collecting antiques. All of this and lots of interesting people and live calls from you, the viewers. So turn on Senior Talk with Dick Gardner, Thursday afternoons at 1 p.m. here on the Cat, channels 35 and 29.
And welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm Galen Floyd. Once again, I want to tell you that the phone lines are open. 521-3529, the Cleveland number, and the Akron number 677-0029. Let's not forget about the coaching situation that's been going on in the NBA and football, period. Larry Brown went from Indiana to Philadelphia. 5 years, $25 million. We had Larry Bird going from Boston to Indiana from retirement, essentially, for big money. We had Rick Pitino going from Kentucky. Follow along here. Get your pens and pencils out. Going from Kentucky to Boston for 10 years, $70 million. Total control of basketball operations. Total. Tubby Smith going from Georgia to Kentucky, thus becoming the first black head coach at Kentucky in their history, which upset a lot of people because I guess some people down there in Kentucky land just aren't ready for a black coach to lead their team. And as it is right now, they're doing very well. They're in the top 5. So there. Chuck Daly and his 2 championship rings left from behind the mic to go to the bench of Orlando, and they're doing well, even without Penny Hardaway. And guess who's down there? Our old friend Mark Price. He's a starting point guard down there. He's wearing number 5 because Nick Anderson is wearing number 25. So there you go. Phil Jackson, of course, I told you, signed a lucrative contract for one final year in Chicago, and I've seen quotes from him. He's looking at it as his final bull run, if you will, in Chicago. So there you go. And in the NFL, Lenny Infante was fired recently from Indianapolis, and you can't blame him because they sucked. But in his defense, he had a lot of quarterback problems. Jim Harbaugh punched Jim Kelly, who was retired from Buffalo, busted his hand up. He was already hurt. That kept him out more games. Mike Ditka returned from the broadcasting booth at NBC to go to New Orleans. And after losing so many games, remember we've seen clips of him saying, I don't know, if they want to get rid of me, I don't think I'm going to be here next year. Woe is me. And they won a few games. Now he's happy again. In our country, in sports, and probably anywhere, winning solves a lot. Winning cures what ails you. Winning can solve a lot. You look right now in Golden State. Everyone's a little happier now, not just because Latrell's gone, but they're winning. Winning can smooth over a lot of ruffled feathers. George Seifert was out in San Francisco. He left on his own. Some people think he was pushed out, but I think it was kind of a mutual decision. And Steve Mariucci came from the college ranks in. And after that first game, everyone had written off the 49ers. Steve Young, another concussion. Jerry Rice blew out his knee. Oh, buried the 49ers. Guess what? Who has home field advantage in the NFC throughout the playoffs? The 49ers. You know what? Let's go to the phones. Sports Talk, go ahead.
Good to talk to you.
How are you?
All right, a little baseball for you.
All right, shoot.
Rod Beck, younger closer than Mesa, 29. I think he has better control. Doesn't throw as hard as Mesa, but I think be a better addition to the ball club. What do you think?
I think he can do a lot of good things for the Tribe, for anyone really. They've questioned his fastball, whether I don't know how fast it is, but he's got control, and somehow he has been managing to get the job done in San Francisco for plenty of years. And yes, you're right, he is still under 30. Jose Mesa, I read somewhere he's listed as 32, but some people think he's closer to 34. So, but he still has a lot of velocity on his fastball, and I would hate to see Jose go because I still think he can be a top relief pitcher in baseball. And the reason I say that is because if you look around the league, how relief pitchers are kind of like field goal kickers. They have great years and they have like just down moments. And I don't know if it's mental or physical, but they just go through phases. Look at Doug Jones. We cut Doug Jones. We practically pushed Doug Jones out the door because we were tired of him. He couldn't save a ball game. Now look, he's one of the top relievers back in baseball again. It's like it just goes in phases, and I believe you just got to hang out or hang in with a relief pitcher and go through those little years where they're not as dominant as they were. There's no relief pitcher in baseball who has not top ones who have not gone through this. Rod Beck had a great year last year, but in '96. 95, his year wasn't like it was the previous years. And he had a good year, but not Rod Beck type of numbers. Dan Quisenberry went through this type of thing. Raleigh Fingers, Bruce Sutter, Lee Smith. I mean, it goes on. All these players did not retire with the same team they had great years with. Eventually, their teams got tired of waiting for them to get out of that slump, and they traded them. Would you not agree?
Good point, but I mean, with Mesa's record as far as in a tight ball game with one-run leads, 6 out of 12 and 16 out of 21 as far as the rest of the season this past year, and the character and the makeup of a closer, I don't think he's got it. I mean, you want to look at his years in '95, and that's it, and then it goes down from there. And I just think with a closer, like you said, a guy like Doug Jones, a great guy, and obviously we maybe gave up on him too soon, but he's able to stick around because of what he does. And I think you mentioned with Rod Beck, his past years, but I think he's been pretty consistent on, let's say, a longer term than what Mesa has done. And I just think with Mesa supposedly being in this last year of his contract, wants this type of money they're talking about.
Right.
Rod Beck would be a nice acquisition, considering the fact that with guys like Mike Jackson, Paul Shuey, Austin Mocker, Tom Martin, and even this guy they picked up from Milwaukee, Ron Vallone, who was a little bit inconsistent last year, but had a good, I think, overall season for Milwaukee. I mean, he throws hard, and he's a left-hander. And I'd like to see him move Mesa, maybe package something, and get a maybe decent starting pitcher if they can do it, or just move him for salary reasons. And also maybe talk about maybe dealing Eric Plunk as well, because I think he's finished.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, only
Plunk.
the fact of the injury last year, and I think we overpaid for what we got over the last 2 years as far as his services. And
Exactly.
I think Texas would definitely still be interested.
I wonder if the same thing that happened to Eric Plunk is what happened with Julian Tavares. Remember a couple years ago we gave him that nice contract, we made him feel secure, a part of the team, and then he collapsed.
Yeah.
It's just unexplained. Maybe he went through the same thing as a closer goes through. I don't know.
Well,
he had a decent year for San Francisco last year, though. Last season.
But I don't agree that this injury detracted from his season that much. I mean, obviously he had the problem with the delivery as far as because of the his ankle or heel on his foot, and supposedly he got away with not needing the surgery, but it could come back at any point. They said.
Right.
His $2.5 million contract. I don't take another year of that. So, I mean, and as far as Charles Nagy, do you think he's going to resign? Because here's another guy. Do you give him away for nothing and get him maybe a younger pitcher, maybe who doesn't make as much, or do you try to deal him for another pitcher from another team, or do you take the chance that maybe you try to negotiate with him during the season, and then if he doesn't stay here, then you practically lose him for nothing?
Here's what I think about Charles Nagy. Charles Nagy will eventually learn he should have stayed here if he does leave.
Like Jim Thome did.
Like Jim Thome, or like Kenny Lofton.
Right.
And I think it's underestimated. Players don't really realize just the power of the fans here in Cleveland, how much we love our players and we love to be successful.
Right.
I think Charles Nagy is going to listen to his agent, and agents have a way of doing the wrong thing.
Well,
and I think his agent is going to look for the top dollar, and Charles Nagy is going to leave, and he's not going to find. It'll be like no place like home.
Right.
He's going to find out that the grass is not greener somewhere else, and he'll wish he was here, but it'll be too late. I hope he does stay because we need his solid arm, what he gives us in our rotation.
Now,
hey,
what
listen.
would you want if he doesn't stay? Would you want maybe make a deal before the season, like a young pitcher like maybe a Tony Saunders or a Jeff Sapan from one of the expansion clubs who could afford?
Hold on. We got to go to a break. I'll answer that when I come back.
Okay.
We got more Sports Talk coming back, and this caller right here on channels 29 and 35, The Cat. Don't go anywhere.
The event that rocks Ohio is happening now at Courtesy Auto World. For the entire year of 1998, pay just $98 a month on your choice of a new 98 Neon or new Dakota. Yes, $98 a month. And at Courtesy, your manufacturer's scheduled maintenance is free. Save now during the year-end clearance sale at Courtesy Auto World, Route 59 and 14 Ravenna.
Always drive with Courtesy. Chrysler Plan Lift Dodge.
Hi, I'm Nancy Stafford, and you won't want to miss the next main floor.
What a year! Main Floor in Review. A look back at who made news, the top trends,
A lot of backless, a lot of plunging neckline.
model behavior,
If you like people, then it's good.
and Style Watch.
Gossip is something everyone loves to do.
I'll see you on main floor.
Main Floor, Tuesdays at 6 on the Cat.
Welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm Galen Floyd here on the Catch, channels 29 and 35. Let me follow up on that question that previous caller asked. Charles Nagy, I want him here. I don't think we're going to deal and get another starter of his caliber to come in here. Now, if we can swing it, bring in another pitcher who's has all-star credentials, by all means, John Hart, go out and get him. So far, he hasn't done it, and I don't foresee it happening. But, I mean, I'm not like Charles Nagy is not like, I'm not really joined at the heart to him. So if he leaves, that's fine. If he stays, that's fine too. But I think we have enough young arms already. Forget the minor leagues. We have enough depth arms on this team right now. Bartolo Colon, if he has to pitch. OJ. He's expected to do big things. So we don't need to really go out and shake up the world and bring in another pitcher and give up something of, I don't know, some major player. I think right now we're solid. If someone becomes available, by all means, Jose Mesa, whoever, fine. If not, then I think we'll be cool too. Let's go back to the phones. Sports Talk, go ahead. You're on the air.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Just to finish up.
Oh, it's you. Okay.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not asking for anything major to give up as far as what we get in return. But I just think the salary, it could be used elsewhere. You mentioned, it's a good point. I like what you mentioned because I think you got the young starting pitching that's upcoming in the system here with Colon and Wright and already OJ
right
the way. And then you get your veterans, obviously, if it pans out, you know, Gooden and whatever, McDonald. But I would just think another guy like a left-hander, like a Saunders, which you would have had if you would have kept Brian Anderson, or a Jeff Sapan, who I think was 12-4 between AAA and Boston last year, and is exciting and something that you could sort of root for as far as, you know, solidifying this rotation, because we got a lot of question marks right now in that starting rotation.
If we can get a left-hander without giving up a lot,
right,
by all means, like I said, fine. You can never have enough quality left-handers. But I think right now what we're looking at is we're kind of playing a waiting game, because if that doesn't happen, then we'll wait for John Smiley and see what happens with his broken arm. If he can heal and come back and contribute, then fine. If not, well, then maybe we should start looking at trying to make some kind of move to bring in a left-hander.
Now, my last question, I'm going to save my basketball and Bobby Sura for next week to talk to you about that.
Okay.
If you get rid of Nagy's salary this year, would you be interested in a free agent like an Andy Bennis if you can get him for a 2 or 3 year contract, maybe at $6 million, which isn't too expensive, or
$6 million a year?
Or do you go after a primo second baseman?
I'm gonna go with the second baseman. Andy Bennis doesn't do much for me.
You don't like him?
And I don't, not unless I can get him really cheap. And that's just me. And John Hart, he may feel totally different. And for me, the bottom line is not dollars, because it's not my money I'm spending. John Hart, he like really stretches the Indians' dollar.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's why Dick Jacobs keeps him, and he's really happy because he watches his money. But for me, that's not, I don't look at, I'm not going to go out and buy a team like Florida did. But if I can get someone of quality, and if I have to pay a little extra, fine. But I don't think Andy Bennis is the answer.
Okay.
Or Alan Bennis or any other Bennis brother. All right?
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
The phone lines are open, 521-3529. Cleveland, Akron, 677-0029. Some of the big stories in 1997 in golf included, you know who? Tiger Woods and his Masters victory. I mean, he just totally wiped away the field. And then the other big story with Tiger Woods was how he just disappeared for the rest of the year. Poof. Gone. Now, he made a lot of money, but that's not hard to do in golf if you finish in the top 10. He was supposed to win, like, shatter win records and everything. He just kind of, maybe the pressure got to him. He said he was tired. He's never played this many tournaments before, and that may be the case. But in the meantime, other players stepped up and moved right alongside of him, if not past him. So that was a big story. Also, the Ryder Cup team, that was a big story. I don't know, if you don't follow golf, the Ryder Cup is like the equivalent of the Davis Cup team, like our Olympic golf team. And we are supposed to dominate every year against the Europeans. And guess what? The Europeans kicked our butts royally. Our top players didn't do jack. And another big story in 1997 was Arnold Palmer's comeback from colon cancer. And I don't have anyone in my family that I've experienced personally with this, but if you got any problems, go get checked out. Because if you catch it early, they say, your chances of recovery are substantial. Go get it checked out. And also, Carrie Webb and Annika Sundstrom and the LPGA continue their dominance in the LPGA, and it seems just like yesterday, Laura Davies was like the hottest player on the tour, and she was just winning everything. Now, she's pushed to the background, and these two, Webb and Sundstrom, they've just been kicking butt. So let's go back to the phones and see what you have on your mind on this last Sports Talk of 1997. What's on your mind?
Hey, I got a question for you.
Fire away.
Baseball. John Hart, I don't know, he always has a problem not wanting to spend the extra buck, I don't know, trying to get the most out of his dollar like you were saying earlier.
Right.
How can Atlanta turn around, sign Smoltz, Glavine, you know, all the big-name pitchers for over 5 years, you know, $30 million?
2 words. Ted Turner. 3 letters. CNN. TNT. Ted Turner has a deep pocketbook. So, you know, and Ted Turner, you know, you've seen Ted Turner, whether you know him personally or not. I don't know him personally, but we know he had that, what's the boating race. He sailed, he's a sailor, he owns numerous companies, entertainment companies, he's a major player in businesses, he's going to donate billions of dollars to charity. Ted Turner does not like to lose. So that explains that right there.
Okay, but I mean, Dick Jacobs really isn't like, I wouldn't consider him to be a poor person, you know.
No, he's not poor.
So,
but some owners, for whatever their own reasons, maybe he doesn't have as many outside interests as Ted Turner, and maybe he doesn't want to you know, have a team like the Yankees used to be, you know, the highest paying team in baseball in order to win. I don't know. All I know is I think a lot of it though is John Hart. He likes to be in control. He's the top dog when it comes to baseball decisions, and he's going to pay you what he thinks you're worth. And so far, he has gotten the Indians to 2 World Series in 3 years. We made the playoffs last year. We were upset. We should have gone farther. No one expected us to go this far this year. So as much as I criticize John Hart or Wayne Embry for that matter, or anyone else, the fact is he gets results. Would you not agree with that?
oh yeah, I do agree with you there. He does get results. Kind of shaky on some of his stuff, but yeah, he does get results.
But okay, and let's look back. He did offer a lot of top pitchers. He offered Smoltz more money than Atlanta did. For some reason, Roger Clemens, they don't want to come here. I don't know if they still have that old perception